Lynn Frano. I'm the chairperson of the Braintree Community Partnership, which is a community prevention coalition with a mission of reducing and preventing youth substance use, and also to support individuals and families with substance use disorder. And I'm here today to welcome you to another episode of Partners in Prevention. Thanks for joining us. I am on the, as a member of the Department of Mental Health Quincy Advisory Board, correct, Jean? Mm-hmm. I'm pleased to have a couple of guests with us today that are going to introduce us to a new service called the Behavioral Health Helpline. It's provided by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in partnership with the Massachusetts Behavioral Health Partnership. So I'm going to have our guests introduce ourselves. We'll start with you first, Jean.
Yes, I'm Jean Giagrandi. I'm a member of the state Southeast Area Regional Board and the local board, and presently the co-chair of the local board for the Citizen Advisory Board. And we service Braintree and 9 other community towns in the area.
Yep. Thank you, Jean. And so I serve with Jean on that advisory board. Yes. Thanks, Jean.
And I'm Ashley Miller, and I'm one of the Boston Community Relations representatives for the Massachusetts Behavioral Health Helpline.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. So, Jean, would you I know you have some history about the helpline, being very involved with it, working with the Department of Mental Health. Could you please give us, our viewers, a little history about how the helpline came about?
Happy to do so.
Thank you.
So in 2021, the Department of Mental Health introduced the Behavioral Health Roadmap. And it is supposed to, and it does, increase the access and improvement for health equity. And in January 2023, the Behavioral Health Helpline was implemented as part of the roadmap. The Helpline is free, confidential service provided by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that can connect residents to clinical help. The helpline offers real-time interpretation of over 200 languages. The residents who are deaf or hard of hearing can also use the mass relay line, which is 711, or a video relay, or to caption the provider of choice.
So they can use whatever provider that they're comfortable with.
Absolutely.
So it is available to in 200 languages. That's wonderful. So access is so important.
Yeah.
And people who are deaf and hard of hearing can use the relay.
And as Lynn mentioned, we have earlier, we have Ashley Miller here today with us, which is a pleasure to have you, and who is the Communities Relations representative to provide more detailed information on the helpline and how it really works.
Awesome. So, Ashley, can you please tell us about what we can expect if we were to use the helpline?
Absolutely. And I just want to thank you both for having me here.
We're thrilled that you're here.
The helpline connects individuals and families to a full range of treatment services, be it for substance use or mental health. Those can include urgent, outpatient, or crisis intervention. You can call, text, or chat for real-time support, and you can get connected to assessment, treatment connection, and the right evaluation for the treatment needs of the individual.
Terrific.
Great.
So tell us a little more, Ashley. Who should use the Behavioral Health Helpline?
Well, the helpline is available 24/7 for anybody in the Commonwealth. Residents can either call, text, or chat 833-773-2445. You can also use the chat feature on masshelpline.com.
Okay, so yeah, I was on the helpline website last week when I was doing a little research about it, and very user-friendly. For people who aren't familiar with chat, the little box comes up and it asks you, can I help you today? So you can either call the number or you can text for people who like to communicate through text. And then there's also that chat, which is extremely helpful.
Yes, especially for youth, the text feature is like super important.
Yeah, young people really like the text, and I prefer to get my messages from text lately too, because it's quick, it's easy. Yeah, so that's fantastic. So it is a very user-friendly website, and you can get help in any way you, in any way
Immediate
you-
help, yeah.
immediate help. So is there a cost to any of these services, Ashley? I'm just curious about.
The helpline is 100% free.
It's 100% free.
Yes, there's no
Okay.
cost for the
Okay.
helpline.
And the hours of operation again?
24/7,
24/7.
365.
365 days a year. That's fantastic. Okay. If a resident is concerned about like a child or an adult family member, is it appropriate for them to call the helpline?
Yes, absolutely. We encourage anyone to call the helpline, actually. It could be for yourself, it could be for your friend, it could be for your neighbor, it could be for your child. If you're just looking for resource connection, you can call the helpline and someone will answer. A friendly a call taker will answer and listen with support.
Awesome. So callers are able to access services and treatment in their local community, or tell us more about that.
So yes, the helpline staff will do their best to connect folks to local resources in their community. They may connect the caller to a community behavioral health center, and Aspire in Quincy is actually the one that for the folks in Braintree.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about those behavioral health centers.
The CBHCs?
Yes.
So the CBHCs, they offer outpatient and crisis services. They can connect folks to, that's where the mobile crisis is dispatched out of. So if you're calling the helpline, they may connect you to one of the CBHCs for the routine care, or if it's a crisis situation, they will dispatch mobile crisis from the CBHC.
So when you say mobile crisis, what does that look like?
For mobile crisis, like if it's like an so what happens when they call the helpline is they'll do like a risk rating, and that risk rating will determine what type of help, what type of treatment connection that they'll assign the caller. So if the risk rating is crisis, maybe like they don't have any social supports and they're feeling suicidal, they would, in that case, they may dispatch mobile crisis to come and support the caller.
Okay, so you're saying someone from the local CBHC, which is out of Quincy, which is Aspire, could send someone right to that individual's home.
To homeschool
or wherever
work,
they're at.
Maybe, somewhere in the community where they feel comfortable. Or the person could go to the actual CBHC. They don't have to wait for mobile crisis.
They don't have to wait for someone to get there. They can go right to the CBHC.
Right there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if they're not familiar with what to do, they can call the helpline, and the helpline will get them connected to those CBHCs.
Absolutely. Or other resources.
Or other resources.
It could be maybe you're calling and you're sad, but you also don't have any food in your pantry. They can connect you to local resources for food, for diapers, all sorts of needs.
Oh, that's fantastic. So my guess is that you have a lot of resource lists available for callers who need resources.
Yes, so we use there's all other at the BHHO we feel like there is no wrong door, so we use other helplines as well. So for instance, 988, if in some instances they may warm hand off a call to us, in other instances we may warm hand off a call to them, but we're working with hand in hand with all these helplines to try to get to the person to the right place. And we're also creating a database. We're working on it. Actually, 10 folks, my team members, we're working on reaching out to all these providers to make sure that they accept the insurance that the person has, or the language that they speak. We really want to we want to tailor it
To the specific needs of the individual.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So the use of the helpline, the call, the text, the chat feature, that's all free. But some of the services that you might connect them with may require health insurance.
So crisis is always, it's universal. It is a free service. So absolutely, crisis they will not get a bill. For some of the routine, and urgent needs, then yes, insurance may come into play. But the staff at the helpline will do their absolute best to connect folks to support that. That maybe it might be a therapist that takes Blue Cross Blue Shield. Or that sees children. They'll help that person connect them to that resource.
So they kind of match them to the most appropriate
They'll do their best.
resource,
So
do their
absolutely,
best.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
fantastic. So tell us about if I was to call, who would be on the other end? Tell us about the people on the other end that are taking the calls. What are their credentials?
So the helpline is it's supervised by master and bachelor's level clinician, as well as peer supports. So every call, there's a caring and compassionate call taker on the line that's trained in crisis de-escalation. They're trained they do it, basically have a conversation, and they're doing a clinical assessment as they're talking to that person.
Great. So these are people with experience, and they have master's level clinicians. It's wonderful that they're supervising the staff that are calling, that the people will be connected with.
Yes,
that's fantastic.
absolutely.
Jean, do you have a question?
I do. So if a resident is concerned about a loved one, a child, a friend, is it appropriate that they call the helpline?
Absolutely. Yes, we encourage, even if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, or maybe you don't know if you should call, if you even should call, like if you just have, you just don't know. We encourage you to call, and somebody that at the helpline will help you, either connect you to the right resources or give you the resources to give to somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Excellent.
fantastic.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's great that they can do that. So tell us more about, so you have these people who kind of can get kind of like involved in your situation. What happens after that? Is there any type of follow-up with the people who answer the phone or the text or the chat?
Absolutely, there is follow-up. As long as the person, with the permission of the person, they will continue to call until they feel like they've received the right connection to care. So they'll follow up within 48 hours in a crisis situation, or 14 days in a more routine situation.
Okay, so for example, if they shared a resource for, let's say, a therapist, they would try to connect with that person within 14 days to see if they made that connection, or if they need, a further referral or something. Is that appropriate?
Yes, but they will also do a warm handoff. So they'll never just transfer the line. Of course, if the person that's what the person wants.
That's what the
absolutely.
person.
But if they, because sometimes making that first call is the most difficult, and we don't want people to get bounced around. So we will make that warm handoff to care, and then we will follow up within 14 days for routine 48 hours. In the event of in a crisis situation, just to make sure that connection was made. Maybe the person met with the therapist, and it didn't work out. They can help them. The call takers will help them. Find another. Let's try again. So there'll always be follow up and a warm handoff.
Yeah, that warm handoff is important, because sometimes you do have to hand it off to someone else, and that introduction is key. And like you say, when you make that first phone call, sometimes can be the most difficult.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So that's good. So give me an example of like a warm handoff, a situation that you might hand off to another helpline or to someone else. Do you have any examples that you can share with us?
So say a mother calls in for their child and they're looking for, routine therapy. So that in that case, the caller may call the CBH or transfer to do a warm handoff to the CBHC to try to get that mother and child set up with like routine outpatient care.
Outpatient care. Okay. And how about someone with a substance use disorder? I know you said you can take mental health and substance use, but there is another substance use helpline. Is that something that would happen as well?
We would work together, yes. So that may happen. That may be an instance where the call taker will do an assessment, and maybe the person's needs are better met through the SUD line, and then vice versa. Somebody from that line may warm transfer a call to the BHHL.
So there's already some of that stuff going on.
Oh yes, we work together.
That's
we work
perfect.
hand in hand.
Great. So tell us a little bit more. What types of mental health or substance use issues should someone call for? We just mentioned a couple of things, but is there anything else? I just want callers to know that whatever it is that they're experiencing, that they feel comfortable, they may be thinking, wow, that's really not for me. They talked specifically about something. What other kinds of situations would be a good match to call this particular helpline?
Absolutely anything, really. If you're sad, if you're anxious, you're depressed, maybe you're lonely, maybe you just need emotional support, you can call the helpline. And a compassionate call taker will help you get to where you either through the helpline or maybe connect you to another resource.
That's excellent. So, and I like the way that you said, if you're feeling sad, anxious, depressed, any of those kinds of things, I think that's really important. This is a resource that's available, free, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, and sometimes, when people are sad, anxious, feeling isolated, sometimes in the evening hours is that time where you're, alone thinking about that kind of stuff. So it's great to know that people can call or text or chat.
Yes. And I just
hours of the
sorry.
middle of the night.
I just want to mention it's in over 200 languages. I don't know, I think we may have said that, but I just want to reiterate that. And there are resources for folks that are deaf and hard of hearing.
Great. And I think I read when I was looking at the website that you can use the relay, but they also have ASL, American Sign Language interpreters, available as well. Is that?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, that's fantastic. It really opens options for so many people. So please tell us more about what residents should do if they are experiencing a mental health crisis. So you mentioned, a lot of people will sometimes, they might call 911. It sounds like this is an avenue as well.
Absolutely, yes. You could call the behavioral health helpline 24/7 for a behavioral health crisis.
And you would connect them with the local CBHC.
Right. They would either send mobile crisis. The person could go to a CBHC and receive crisis care. Maybe they have like some social supports. They have a ride. Somebody could give them a ride to the crisis, or crisis can come to them.
Okay, and is crisis those community-based centers? Do they have accessibility in the evening, like overnight too?
24/7.
24/7. That is really good to know. So 24/7, because I know when I talk to people who are anxious or whatever, a lot of times it's those overnight hours that are the toughest. Yeah. Great. So I guess I want to just say, is there anything else that you feel like we haven't discussed, and that you want to just let people know in summary about the helpline?
Oh, I would say, I would like just to reiterate that it's the Massachusetts Behavioral Health Helpline is a free resource to anybody in Massachusetts. It's available 24/7, 365, and it's available in 200 languages, and it's there to help when and where people need it.
Great, that's awesome. I can't thank you enough for being here with us today. I want to encourage our viewers, if you're feeling sad, lonely, anxious, or if you know someone else who's experiencing any of those feelings, please call the Behavioral Health Helpline. It sounds like, do you have any stats? I'm just curious about how many people since the helpline came to be, I believe in January of 2023. Do you have any information on how many people have been serviced?
I believe it's over 40,000.
40,000.
Yeah,
Over
40,000.
40,000.
40,000 calls.
Wow, so that's fantastic. So they've taken over 40,000 calls, which means they're more experienced at handling these situations over time, which is fantastic. Because sometimes when you have a new helpline, I know with the substance use prevention, with that helpline, when they first started, I don't know how many years ago, that was probably 15 or something, that they had, it was tough initially getting up and running, but now they just do a fantastic job connecting people with the services that they need. So,
And they're always being evaluated. The helpline is constantly being looked at to make improvements or what they can do to make it better service. So it's because it is new the past year. So so that's a great thing from the commissioner.
yeah,
So
that's
that's very
fantastic.
good.
So would the caller or the texter or the chatter receive some kind of a evaluation tool? Do they answer any questions or how they felt about the services they received? Do they get anything like that?
So I know, like for providers, we have for callers, there's a portal.
There's a portal
that you could fill
Okay.
out. If you had a good experience, if you had a bad experience. If we're always trying to. It's a new resource. We're always trying to look how we can improve. So there is a portal available that you can fill out an evaluation.
Okay, so that's fantastic because I think that's really important, and that's the feedback that you get from people is often the way that you can make improvements.
That's right.
So that's great. Jean, do you have anything you'd like to close with?
I would just love to thank Ashley and Lynn for having us here today, and I think is sharing this information with the Braintree residents. And I would like to invite any resident that is interested in advocating for mental health in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to think about joining a Quincy area or Southeast area Quincy Citizen Advisory Board. And for more information about the Department of Mental Health Citizen Advisory Board, you can contact Kimberly.Anderson, Education and Employment Coordinator for the Department of Mental Health. And she's at a Brockton office. So if anybody is interested in being on the board, people also who are being served, we would welcome anybody, because the more advocates that we have for mental health, the more improvements we can make.
So if you have someone in your life has some mental health concerns, being on the advisory board is a way to
Absolutely.
Express some of those concerns. Maybe look at some of the programs, because you do some evaluation of some of the local programs.
We do monitoring, we monitor the contracts, we advocate, and we do a lot of education too. And we work with legislators at the State House for budgeting and for improvements.
To always looking at improvements, which is so important.
Yep, so important.
Great. So Kimberly Anderson is the person to contact. That contact information should be up on the screen at some point. And I just want you both to know how much I appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Your wealth of information. I want to, again, have our viewers, if you have any questions If you're interested in joining the advisory board, please be in touch with Kim. I find it to be a really, Mayor Sullivan had appointed me to that board several years ago, and it's great. I feel like we can advocate for the needs of the people in our community. So yes, so please reach out to Kimberly Anderson, and please, 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 if you're feeling depressed, sad, anxious, any of those things, and you need additional help, please feel free to contact the Behavioral Health Helpline. And I think that's all I have to say. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your expertise, Ashley and Jean. It's a pleasure serving with you on the area board, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And I just want everyone to know that we are going to be having more partner and prevention programs coming up within the next several months. And we did mention the 988. We'll probably do a program about that. It's the suicide prevention helpline. So yeah, we hope you stay tuned with us, and thank you so much for being with us today. Have a great day, Braintree.
Thank you.